Okay, so I wanted to use this platform as an opportunity to basically give men the power of their voice. And as the co-founder of the Last Kiss Foundation, it's our 8th anniversary, and with a whole new rebrand and kind of new developments and projects moving forward, I thought, what's a better way than to dedicate an entire page for men to share their story and their journey? So on that note, I have Arf come and join us today to kind of be the first voice and the power to kind of get things going. And I just want to kind of delve into your story around loss and maybe even your journey and anything you want to share or don't want to share, frankly. But the floor is yours.
Okay. Where should I start? What? Just
Anywhere you want to
yeah,
start, really. I mean, obviously your journey has predominantly been around IVF journey
yeah, yeah.
and
Okay, yeah. So
getting started with that.
basically, yeah. So obviously, Kit, my wife, and I, uh, we've been together a long time. We got married in September 19, September 2019, and that's when we discussed it. We wanted to have have kids pretty much straight after getting married. So we actually, I think we started a little bit before trying, and then so we were trying after getting married for probably about 6 months to a year. Um, but we, I was saying that. Sorry, yeah, we were trying for about 6 months, but nothing was happening. So we started sort of investigating, going to the doctors, etc., and found out that basically both sides we had issues, and yeah, obviously that was frustrating at the time. They said to us, you can try, but it's probably unlikely you're gonna have it naturally. Especially, it seemed like it got worse because yeah, Kit pretty much stopped having a period due to polycystic ovaries, I think it was. But then also I had issues on my side as well. So, but yeah, so then we decided to go for IVF, which was yeah, pretty much it was an easy decision because the first one's on NHS, so obviously there's no cost implications. You don't really know too much about the 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 sort of other side effect issues and things like that at first. So we just went ahead with that, and yeah, I mean we got really lucky. Obviously, on the first go, um, we had Rio. Do you want me to explain like the process of IVF
Well,
leading up to?
I was just going to say, obviously, your journey kind of was really successful with that first lot of
First one?
IVF,
Yeah,
which is amazing because obviously a lot of people struggle. You know, it's not always that kind of plain sailing, should we say? But I was just thinking because I don't know the journey of IVF. When you go to the doctors, if you say the first one's on the NHS sort of thing, is it actually hard to like get them to kind of start you on that path and that journey?
no, that's true. You're right. Actually, I've got an awful memory, by the way, but and also I've skipped past
I
quite a
think it's a
bit.
man thing.
So yeah, so obviously we were trying for like six months to a year, but then the doctors, they make you go through a lot of other procedures first. Basically, like they give Kit. I think there was like probably three different processes that we had to go through before IVF. So
Okay.
each time was like Kitty getting some sort of medication. I got told I needed to like stop doing certain things. Not that they could pinpoint that it was down to like the way I led my life, because it could be hereditary, anything. Um, Basically, mine was like poor morphology of the sperm, which means like the 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 heads aren't quite the right size to like pierce through the eggs.
Yeah.
Um, so I got told like take Wellman, stop drinking, and things like that, which I did for a period of time because it was obviously it's like one of them things which is that important that you have to sort of change your habits in life. And we went through and we tried. So yeah, they'd force Kitty into some sort of cycle, and we'd try and get pregnant naturally that way. And then there was something else we did. I can't remember exactly what it was, but all of it involved a lot of medication along the way. So that all that during that is quite time consuming when you're thinking, oh, and you do see it around people that aren't even trying to have a baby, like literally accident. I've even got friends that one night stands and things like that, and they've had babies and they don't even want the kid. You know what I mean? And when you're going through that, you can't help but feeling like a little bit sort of hard done by when really you've done everything supposedly right. You got married, really want to, you've been waiting for this opportunity, and then you got to go through all that. But then obviously once we tried those, then that's when they said, right, yeah, okay, you're eligible for IVF on the NHS because of our age, etc., and the category we fell into. So then that process began. And once they did say you're eligible, it wasn't too long. It was, so say we got married in 2000 September 19, and Rio was born in June 22. So that would have been like probably is nearly. I think it was over 2 years we was trying all together. So that was different through the natural process at first, realizing that wasn't going to happen, and then these other attempts where it was like sort of different drugs and things like that. So yeah, then we actually got to do the IVF.
And I'm guessing, I mean, that's a long journey ultimately, and it's a lot of pressure, whether it's on you as the man or whether it's on your wife, and you know the emotions that come with it. And I know men and women are very, very different, and the way we process things is very, very different. And I know that I've got friends who haven't yet started the IVF journey, but it's the aim to get there. And even from a female's perspective of every month, I know you said Kit stopped her period stopped, but every month when that period arrived, that feeling of failure, that feeling of, oh, here we go again, oh, it's another month. And I guess there's always that underlying hope that it would just happen, you know, even though you know that there's certain things you just think, oh, maybe, or maybe that's just a woman's way of
100%. No, definitely, yeah. I not at one point neither of us were like, oh, it's just not going to happen. But Kit, for me, it was kind of more of like, yeah, it was disappointing and pretty hard to sort of. Well, it's more frustrating, you know what I mean? Frustration for me. But also I was always sort of thinking, right, what's the next step? What's the next? That's the way I deal with it. I know Kit beat herself up and she felt really sort of down at times because it was like, oh, my body's failed me. You know what I mean? This is what I was sort of put on this planet to do, is to like have a child and continue the sort of process. But yeah, why can't my body do it? Like, what have I done wrong, sort of thing, and blaming herself. So that was one of the strong emotions she felt. And then obviously there was just she had the same frustration as me, where it was like, right, because every time something wouldn't work, it'd be like, right, how long is it going to be now until we get the next opportunity? Especially as she wasn't having a natural cycle. So everything would be like, oh, doctor's appointment next, and right, that takes X amount of time. You know how it is. It's just time flies by, and all of a sudden, you set out off with certain things in your mind about, oh, by this age, I might have two or three. But I mean, by this age, where like I'm 33 now, it's obviously 4.5 years, maybe. No, 4 years after we first started trying. Yeah, we thought, right, we would have had two kids by now, and that would have been sort of done. So yeah, they were the sort of emotions going through the process and leading up to it. Obviously, as was going on to say, like, we got extremely lucky, like with our first round of IVF. Um, we got certain, like, good amount of eggs. So obviously the process with the actual IVF, when you come round to that, that comes with its, obviously its own uh like, not problems but difficulties, more so for the woman, because obviously I think it depends, like, it's still difficult because you have to go through all the drugs, but the fact that it wasn't getting the cycle as well, there was more drugs on top of that. So basically it's like 6 weeks of serious sort of hormone altering drugs that you're on. Like, I was having to inject her the first time around. I was injecting her like 2 times a day with, like, these big needles, two injections 2 times a day, and she'd have all these other tablets and things like that, and that was affecting her mental state of mind, like, heavily, and physically as well. She was bloated all the time. She just felt crap about herself day in, day out. But obviously you got the sort
Bigger
of
picture.
end goal in
Yeah.
mind, a bigger picture in mind. So, and it was worth it a million times over. Like, we got pregnant. Uh, they did so. We got a good amount of eggs. Did well, I think we had three. They kept three good embryos. We put, obviously, did what a transfer one embryo, and they froze the other two. Um, so yeah, and with that transfer, yeah, she got pregnant, and then obviously that journey started, the whole
Now
pregnancy
you've
thing.
got a very busy toddler.
Yeah, that's it. Exactly. Yeah,
got you got a
yeah,
little bundle of joy that keeps you really, really busy. Um,
100%. Yeah, yeah,
but like you say, worth the journey. And then I suppose what naturally leads into the next stages. So that talking about kind of the oh, by this age we hopefully would have like 2 kids. You'd have your life mapped out. We're living together, we're married, we've got jobs, businesses, whatever, happy little
mm,
family bubble. And I suppose your journey now continues on in the sense of kind of the idea of wanting
yeah,
another child, and then I suppose the journey, which I guess miscarriage and baby loss is such a taboo topic and subject in general that it's not you just text your mate and, oh yeah, I've had a miscarriage. It's that's just not normal. And so most people don't really know what's happening behind closed doors, or everyone's got a happy face and they carry on their day and their business and their lives, but they don't know
mm,
sometimes the pain that's carried behind those doors. And
yeah.
I suppose that like naturally leads on to your next phase of the journey and kind of the discussion. When did it become like a topic of, oh, let's try again, or what? How did
Yeah.
that come about?
Well, I think we were always, like, both aware that we definitely want another kid, but then I think having one made it even more so. You know what I mean? Because it's like an addictive feeling, even though it's yeah, probably
Hard.
like a drug of some sort. Um, it's difficult and stressful, obviously, but it's on the other side, it's like amazing. You know what I mean? When the the thought that goes through your head as well is I don't want this to be the last time that they roll over for the first time, sit up for all those little first times. Like, oh, it can't just be once. Like, we need to experience this and again, sort of thing, with another little baby, basically. So yeah, so obviously it kind of made it probably even more difficult, I think, having one, because we know what we're missing out on now.
Yeah.
And yeah, so that we've basically we had the two frozen embryos, so we decided, right, we're gonna go for another round of IVF. It's not a round of IVF, saying that it's an embryo transfer. So basically, we've stuck with this through the NHS. They send you to a private clinic anyway, which is near to where we live. We stuck with them. They had the embryos in storage. Um, you have to leave it a certain period of time. I can't remember what it is. But basically, I think we started trying when embryo was like 6 months or something like that, maybe. Um, and yeah, so embryo transfer, so it's cheaper instead of having to pay like I think it's like 7 to 8 grand, something like that. It's like 1,500 quid for basically the medication and the embryo transfer. Um, or it's 1,500 quid plus the medication, which is another 400 or something. So it's not cheap, but it's not as crippling as if you do the full round. But yes, it's again, I think it was a bit worse this time. The actual the lead up, it was definitely a bit worse with the medication that Kit had to have, and it was difficult, very difficult for her, obviously. And then it's not that easy as the partner to deal with as well, because your partner's going through so much, like they feel so crap all the time, and you don't like seeing them like that. And also, it's not when you're coming in day in day out, or waking up as well. And I wouldn't want to say this really, because it's they're the one that's going through it, but also for your own thing, you might wake up in a good mood, but always you're be coming back with, oh no, like someone that's really sort of down in the dumps. So yeah, that's sort of more of a selfish probably feeling, but
No, but it's got
um
to be hard. It's got to be hard for the male because the women do the carrying, and I suppose with the IVF, obviously the medication and the change in the hormones, and all of the different things that's happening internally to the woman. So it's hard for you to then be expected to be in a mood, should we say, or low mood, when
yeah,
you're. It's not just a choice for someone, for your wife or partner to feel that way. It's they're kind of being forced to feel that way because of
yeah, that's
everything
it
that's
exactly.
internally changing. So it
Yeah, and
isn't
you
easy. And I
can.
suppose that adds more dynamics and stresses in a relationship in general, because that's got to be a given,
Oh,
you know?
yeah, 100%. Yeah, no, it does, and because I think for us as men, we just can't physically like understand it the way that they must be feeling. Not only through going through IVF, but going through the pregnancy after the post giving birth as well is like whole nother level sort of thing. So that's why it can cause a bit probably a rift between the couple, because we can't understand, they can't understand why we're not feeling the same,
Yeah.
like something
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that.
yeah.
But yeah, so should I should I explain
Yeah.
regarding
So
yeah, the so the second the first embryo transfer, um we went through the process again, and just like mad luck and over the moon. Like we were pregnant when we did the test. You do the test, obviously you get told, because it's IVF, you get told the day to do it. So you're like itching to sort of, right, that morning you're like, yeah, right, let's do it. And like the time before, we had to like take like 3 tests. We were like, oh my god, yeah, it can't be, yeah, sweet it is. So this time we did it, and she was pregnant. So it was like, oh my god, unreal, amazing feeling, buzzing. Obviously, you know yourself what it's like, as in like the risks that still follow. Like, so I keep a bit reserved on looking forward that far with regards to that. But I think Kit sort of already had in her head like that. Obviously, she had dates. We both had dates in our head, but more had physical like experiences in her head, and that basically like that's what she was going to be doing in a year's time with a new baby. That's so instantly, because she had one as well. It I think this made this process a bit more difficult, because yeah, about I think it was about 3 or 4 weeks later, she started bleeding like with some just spotting, and she went to the hospital, and they said, look, spotting's not too bad, it might not be an issue. And then a day later, like a definite miscarriage basically, which lasts for a few days or a week, I think. So yeah, so is obviously instant, like, heartbreak for both of us. Uh, Me personally, I don't know if I think other men of a, they're not always, but of a bit of a similar sort of look on it, because it's not our body, so it's harder to sort of feel the pain as much. But and also I'm more of a person. I don't know whether it's like a protection mechanism, but I don't like. I used to just day to day stress a lot about everything, and I can't compare this to work and things like that, but mainly to do with work and that, and it was just keep me up at night and things like that. And I just got to a certain point where I was like, I don't know how I did it, but kind of like stopped.
Boxed it off.
Yeah, exactly. Especially if it was something that I couldn't change, and this kind of fell into that category. I couldn't change it. It was flipping crap. Basically, it was shit news. We wanted another baby so badly, even more so than the first one, because of what I've explained with how good we felt with the baby we've got with Rio. So, but I kind of like, right, okay, well, we've got another embryo, we can go again. Whereas with Kit, it's her body. That was her baby at the end of the day. She looked at it like that, and there that that caused some issues between us two quite a bit, especially a bit later on, like 2, 3, 4, 6, 2, 3 months, 6 weeks, 2, 3 months later, even, because it would eat her up a bit inside. Like, how can he not be as upset? How can he not be like down and upset? But he's just like forgetting about it, going on about his normal day-to-day business, whereas it's eating me up inside. These are sort of what her emotions were like. Like, it was like eating her up inside every day. There wasn't a day or hour that went by without her sort of thinking about it. Because of the fact that she had had it all sort of,
Mapped
well,
out.
yeah, mapped out, and like it's her body as well. I
I think
can't personally, yeah,
I think
sort of,
with grief though, like no matter how big or small or anything else, everybody deals with grief in a very, very different way. And I can relate to you as like the man side of it. So I've been through two miscarriages, and for me, I didn't want to remember the date
mm,
because, and I know that sounds terrible, but it'll be terrible to some people because we all deal with things in very different ways. And for me, and my traumas, and even if it's not baby loss, but life traumas, you you don't have to, but for me, I have to box it off. I have to kind of think about it logically, put it into like methodical kind of thinking, and like, right, okay, that's that. And now I have to move on. And it's not that I forget, and it's not that, anything is never a memory. But for me, one of my miscarriages, the date that the baby would have been due was the day before my daughter's birthday. So in
oh,
theory, I can never forget that, because how can you
never
forget that?
forget.
I've just
Yeah,
said it right now. But I don't sit on that day and think, blimey, my child would have been,
mm,
like 8, 9 years old or whatever it might be. But that's my way of dealing with it. But then I know that some people and parents and mums who will use that day to symbolize the day. So they'll do something on that day to just have that memory and that long lasting memory, which I think is okay. And I think part of the battle sometimes is communication on, I am upset, I am hurt, I am with you, but actually this is my way and my grieving kind of a journey.
yeah,
So I think everybody just kind of will go through the mill differently, don't they? And with grief is anger. A huge part is anger.
yeah,
And it might not be
yeah,
your fault, but you're still the closest person she's got, who she loves and, trusts, and she can lash out at you and know that you're not going to run away. So you're also that comfort blanket to allow her to express the journey that
yeah,
obviously you're both going through.
yeah. That
Yeah,
was that. Yeah, that. So yeah, anger. Yeah, there was. I think there was a lot, even more so. Obviously, a lot of that frustration and very much so anger at the fact that it was like sort of why us, and then um more and more people getting pregnant and having babies all around you, and you can't help but, I mean, even me, like, feeling like, bloody hell, it's yeah, sort of, yeah, another person sort of thing, which, like, obviously you feel super happy for them, but
eats you up a
Yeah,
little bit.
yeah. Still, it's just another reminder of you just want to be able to click your fingers and be there. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's difficult. Still is difficult now. I think for Kit and myself, we've obviously like discussed a lot of options and things like that, and um we went through again when she was ready. Pretty well, actually, she was like, "I just want to go straight away again. I want to go at it and try and have this baby." So we went through to use up the last embryo again, and basically she did the whole medication cycle like 6 weeks, and the day before the embryo transfer, she had some spotting, which basically meant like I think the lining of her womb was thinning or something like that, which meant they had to abandon the cycle. So it was like she went through all the shit basically of the bad sort of mental side effects and physical side effects, but then didn't even get the opportunity to go for it at that time. And then that was another one that hit her hard, and one that kind of I didn't brush off, but because I felt for her again, because obviously I love her to bits, and I hate seeing her in pain. But me, it was like, oh, we still got an embryo left. But then I was forgetting how much like pain she has to go through to get to even that stage where you're getting the transfer, and then even then you're still if you get pregnant, you're still like got the possibilities of the miscarriage again. You got like that 12-week period where it's like pretty much yeah, that's not guaranteed, is it? So there's still risks involved there. So yeah, basically that I think that time it was took its toll on her a bit, and she kind of said, "Look, I can't do this again." We still got the embryo, um, but we said, "Look, this was before this beginning of this summer. It was yeah, we said, look, let's have a break, and she was like, I don't even know if I'm going to be able to do it again. To be honest, I'm just going to have to see how it goes. And yeah, so we like we've yeah we. I mean, for me, I still think we're going to go for it. She's undecided. We have looked at other options. We're looking at like adoption at the minute because we're still set on like at the end of the day, especially more and more. So looking into the adoption, like I've dreamt of since we've been going through it and things. I've had dreams of like having an adopted child and things like that, and it's like even in the dream, I felt a lot of love for that child, sort of
Yeah.
thing. So yeah, so that made me feel quite nice towards it, and almost like, oh, do I even want to see her go through that pain again in order to try and get our own baby when we could like adopt and from my dream, I had a lot of like in the dream. It was weird. I had a hell of a lot of love for that. You know, like in dreams, you can feel
Yeah,
proper.
really vivid.
Yeah, so quite sort of yeah. It's a long process. So that's yeah. We see what happens on the way. We might try whilst we're going through the process and see if, well, you can't actually, sorry, saying that we're gonna have to make a decision because you can't go to adopt a child within 6 months of having fertility treatment.
Right.
So yeah, so basically we'll have to make a decision end of the year, we said, whether we're gonna go for that or not. And there's also another avenue which I've been suggested to by a friend of mine. He's a lot older than me. I think him and his partner, sort of, she's late 40s and he's 50s, and they had a kid like 3 years ago. I think she was like 47, and they did it through going to see this professor. There's only one of them in the UK apparently, and it's like not an allergy, but um he does a ton of tests basically, and it's regarding miscarriages, and also just in like fertility issues. But so that's another option that we're exploring at the minute. But yeah, I mean we're pretty set on definitely doing one of the three options.
The journey and keeping
Yeah,
some faith that somewhere along the lines, when it's right, you'll have
yeah,
a
yeah,
another bouncy Rio of some
yeah.
description
That's
to
it.
pull your
Yeah,
house
exactly.
apart and spill kind of
Yeah,
spaghetti bolognese down your favorite white shirt.
that's it. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, and the age difference, Kit more so is a bit more stressed about that getting more and more. Um, but only because she had a certain picture in her head of the ages, and I'm a bit long. Well, it is what it is, sort of thing. If there's benefits to having a larger age gap, like
I'll just
obviously I know
I'll pipe in on this one. Yeah. So for me,
exactly. Yeah.
I've got a 2-year-old and I've got a 12-year-old. So there was like a 10-year gap, which wasn't the
Mm,
plan. And if you ever asked me in a million years, I'd never have ever said that. Like that wouldn't be even a thing. Obviously, I've got my journey of loss along the way, and obviously life gets in the way too. And for me, I always wanted 2 kids. It was like part of the marriage agreement. It was like we're not getting married unless I'm allowed two. Two is like agreement. And it's amazing. Like the love, because my sibling, there's 4.5 years between me and my sister, and we fought like cat and dog. Like
yeah.
we literally, there wasn't much love. It's nice when you get older sometimes, but there wasn't much love at all when we were growing up. It was like, oh, great. So I've got to do that because I've got to drag my sister, or, whereas
Yeah.
actually my son and my daughter and the age gap, the memories that you get with like the eldest when they're on their own and they've lived like a single child life of like these magical memories that
Mm,
kind of some people wouldn't be able to do if they've got more than one child, etc. But yeah, he'll never get that because
mm.
I've always got the older one.
Yeah,
But
that's it.
we got like this magical 10 years of all sorts of stuff. And then now together, one, I could always have a shower because I've got a 10-year-old that's like compos mentis and,
Yeah.
not going to let him die. And, you can cook dinner. There's a lot of perks to having like a nice age gap. I'm not suggesting 10 years, but um, yeah, it is a really lovely kind of relationship they've got as well. Really
Yeah.
lovely.
No, I've seen that.
Yeah.
Seen that, and yeah, obviously, Lil's your eldest, like so good, isn't she? With Jude, so yeah, that's one of the pros. Obviously, is being able to get a bit more of
Yeah.
a
I'm not
break
saying
every
wait
now
10
and
years. I'm not saying wait
then.
10 years, but obviously, even the IVF journey was, 3-4 years and the process
Yeah.
that comes with it. So everything can feel like it's, longevity, but there are also really lovely perks of having that little gap as well,
Yeah, that's it.
that
Yeah,
time, and
it,
those
it
special kind of bonds you build.
it is what it is, and it's yeah. For us, we've still got a child, so I do feel, and for the people that have tried like numerous times and not been successful, I do know people that have been in that boat, and it's difficult for me now because I'm the one that's got the child to speak to him and feel like, oh shit, like I feel so bad because but then we're also the next stage, like we've got one, but we want another one. So we're in a similar boat, but obviously not quite.
Still in
Yeah,
limbo.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, so
Yeah.
um, yeah,
But
so
on that
that's
note, I also know you're sat in the car waiting to go and get Rio. So I'm
yeah,
looking at the time, you need to go. So I'm going to let
yeah,
you
I
go.
know.
But
Yeah, yeah,
thank you for sharing your journey and for
no
Kit,
worries.
allowing you to also share because it's a very personal thing.
Yeah,
And hopefully, the conversation will either open up more conversations or allow people to come forward and want to
mm,
share, on a platform and just feel kind of seen and heard. Because I know men don't do the carrying, but
mm,
they're still part of the journey. And it doesn't mean then they don't feel it, they don't have emotions, they don't hurt, they don't, we all process it differently, which is
mm.
okay because there's no, you know, expected journey of loss. But
Yeah,
um,
and it might. I don't know whether it would sort of help like other couples as well, because obviously that's a strain. If they do see, oh, maybe that is a bit more common. Maybe my partner isn't like just sort of heartless or whatever when it comes to this. Maybe it is more of a common man thing, and try and make each other understand a bit more. Yeah, that is.
Communication.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
No, I've been happy to share that with you, Key. Anyway.
Thank you. Thanks. Well, give Rio a little squeeze from me, and
Yeah.
I'll let you go get him. But thank you, Alf.
All right. You
No
take care. Yeah?
worries.
Speak soon.
Oh, I'm going to press stop recording.